All right, hey guys, I'm going to show you how to do your second row of weaving and then kind of every row from then on. We've done one row of weaving. We started on the front, we tied to one side, the bottom of one side, that counted as an over, and then we went under, over, all the way across. My last one was an over, yours might have been an under, but since mine was over, when I turned it, my first one was under. If your last one was under, your first one would have been over. So since my first was under, I then continued the pattern, under, over, all the way to the end. That was my first row. I'm gonna continue weaving now. So when I get to the end of that first row, I'm gonna turn my work again. So now I'm back to the front. I look at my first knot. That first knot counted as over. And if I look, my next one was under. That means when I go to weave my next row, I again have to do the opposite of what was done before. It's all about doing one and then the other, alternating. So if my first one was over, I know it's a knot, but we said it counted as an over. That means my first on my second row is going to be the opposite of that, which is under. And then I see my next string, I had gone under. That means on my second row, I have to do the opposite of that, which is going over. So right here, I'm kind of locking it in place by doing the opposite. And I'm going to continue that pattern. So not only do I look to see what did I do the string before, if I did under, then I have to go over, but I also look and see what was the previous row. If the previous row here was I went under the white string, that means on this row, I have to go over the white string on that one. So I'm alternating. We're creating this one-to-one pattern, one over, one under, and we're just gonna keep going. That was under, so over, under, over, over. Gonna keep going. Gonna pull this through little by little, and I'm almost done my second row here. There, I finished my second row on my first side. Now I'm gonna pull that whole string, pull it all the way through, and then I'm gonna scrunch it down. And as you see, it creates this basket weave. That's what we call a basket weave pattern when we have an every other weaving pattern. That is your goal. So then I turn to my second side, and it doesn't matter what I did back on my first side anymore. I'm just gonna look to what I did on the previous row. This first one went under. That means on my second row, it has to go over so that it's the opposite. See how the first one was under? So the second one has to be over, the opposite. And I'm gonna go across my whole row. One thing you have to be careful for as you weave is that you do not send your needle through your piece of yarn. You want to send it completely over or completely under. It's very easy to stab it in the middle and end up having it through the yarn. You do not want to do that at any point. Make sure it's completely under or completely over. And you're gonna finish that whole second row. And you're gonna continue that way for every row afterward. So if I finish my second row, oh, I lost my needle. If at any point you lose your needle, what do? Well, you just put it back on. So thread it again, pull it through the hole, and then I'm just gonna tie that little knot again. I just do a single knot. I'm not gonna do a double. If you feel like you have to do a double, okay. So I pulled it all the way through, and I'm gonna take my fingernails and scrunch it down as low as I can. Scrunch, 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 really dig it down. If someone has better scrunching skills than you, well, ask them what their technique is. So you can really scrunch it down. That's what will make your bag really, really secure. So we're going to then turn it to the first side. I look, my first was over, my second was under, so my next one has to be over. See how I'm just continuing the pattern? I hope this is quite obvious. You're all really clever, so I know you're all gonna get this. And you're gonna have fantastic pouches. Make sure that your yarn is straight and stays in the right place on the loom. Mine just went over the bottom. I don't want that. I'm gonna pull it to the side. I'm gonna pull it tight. When I'm done this row, I'm gonna scrunch it down again really, really, really low. I can scrunch it so much that I don't even see my white strings. That's kind of the goal. You wanna scrunch it so much that your white strings become invisible almost. You can kind of see how you can barely see them now. It's going to create a beautiful pattern as you continue across. So your goal now is to continue around and around and around. You're going to run out of this yarn, your first yarn, and you're going to get a new one, and I'll show you how to tie on a new yarn in the next video.